Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Okay, so we've got about 5 minutes before we're gonna get started. We're gonna start right at 6 o'clock because I really respect your time and I want to make sure that I get all the information I can possibly squeeze in this 45 minutes, and I don't want you to miss out on anything. And I don't want to run out of time and still have a lot more to tell you, and kind of just respect your space in that matter. So we are going to start promptly at 6 o'clock. Before we get started, for everybody who is here in the chat room, first and foremost, thank you so much for showing up, right? Like, not just showing up to listen to the webinar, but showing up for yourself, right? Because taking an opportunity to look at something that could benefit you or grow you or give you more information, that is you showing up for you. That is you caring about your future and your health. So thank you for showing up for yourself, and thank you for showing up to listen to what information I have to give you today. But if you could just interact with me a little bit in the chat and tell me a little bit about where you're from and what are some of the things that you are kind of struggling with right now. Health concerns that you might have, mental health concerns that you might have, relationship concerns that you might have. This is that space where you should feel free and safe to interact with me. Don't worry, not everybody's gonna be able to see your comments. I'm the only person who's gonna be able to see your comments. So if you say something like, I don't want everybody to know about my business right now, that's fine. You don't nobody else will see that but me. But I do want to like kind of give an opportunity to kind of see what everybody is here to kind of learn a little bit more about and make this webinar a little bit more personal. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So just so everybody knows, I'm seeing shout outs from everywhere from Carmel to Lebanon to Indianapolis, downtown area. I'm in Indianapolis too. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. We've got somebody from Texas, all the way from Texas. Woo. Is it hot there? It's super hot here today. So I think it feels like Texas outside right now. It's pretty warm. I'm not going to talk bad about the weather though, because anybody's from Indiana, you know that you say too much about it, it'll get cold for you real quick, and then you'll be complaining about that. We only like to hold on to winter, summer for about a month anyway. Thank you so much for sharing all those concerns. Yes. And I absolutely believe that this is the webinar for you. This is the webinar for those of you that are commenting about some of the mental health concerns that you are struggling with, or relationship concerns that you're struggling with. This webinar is for you. You are going to get something out of this space that's going to help you immediately within your relationships. Now, obviously, you might want a little bit more help. You might want to talk a little bit more about that issue, but I definitely believe that this webinar, you're not going to leave here without something of value to bring into your life now and bring into those relationships now. So welcome. Yeah, the locations are just pouring in. Lots of locations all over Indiana. Lots of Indiana. And a few places right outside of Indiana. We got Chicago area. We've got Illinois in that Springfield area. Oh, okay. Again, thank you so much for sharing in the comment section. Thank you for letting me know what's going on in your world and what's going on with your health. Those that are listing some of your health concerns. I think you're going to get a lot out of this webinar as well. This is just not strictly for mental health. This is about the whole person and how the whole person can be struggling, and how to help your whole identity, not just those certain parts, not just the physical parts of the mental health parts. Thank you so much for participating. Thank you so much. Yes, wonderful, beautiful. We've got about 2 more minutes. So if you could just kind of take this time to get settled, situated, get your partners or your friends, whoever you're going to crowd around the computer, and watch this webinar together. Go ahead and try to eliminate as many distractions as possible. So get your last little text message in, watch your last little TikTok, 15 seconds, put the kiddos away, uh, get that last bite of food in your mouth. So when we get started, you'll be able to fully be here and present and hearing everything that Beck has to offer. Because I don't want you to miss out on anything. Okay. So, for all of you who have had an opportunity to um, get everything ready and situated, we're about to go ahead and get started. It is 6 o'clock on the dot. Again, I thank everyone for showing up for yourself, showing up for this webinar today, and really putting yourself first in the space. So, the quote on the board, it says, let's begin with an ideal, right? There are many roads to prosperity, but one must be taken. Inaction leads nowhere, right? Really, that is the gears behind this webinar, is that I would like for you to not just ingest this information that I'm giving you. It does nothing that you just know something more. You have to be willing to do something more, right? So let's work on keeping in mind moving this knowledge to action. And how are you going to take this knowledge that I'm going to give you today into an action that you're going to change your life with, to alter the path in the direction with which you're taking your life, to care for yourself in a different way, in a better way, in an improved way, in a healthy way, right? All right. So today we're going to talk about, this is a webinar about stress hormones and wellness. My name is Anita Coburn. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, but that's not what this webinar is going to be focused on, right? We are going to focus on a whole person, on wellness as a person. So please don't get the title confused and think, oh, she's going to talk about relationship stuff and marriage stuff. Nope, I'm going to talk about you stuff. I'm going to talk about health stuff. Like I said earlier, please eliminate as many of the distractions as possible. So put your phones down, put the kiddos asleep. Go ahead and get focused and get ready to learn something so that you can change your life. All right, first and foremost, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the healthcare crisis. Did y'all know that we were in crisis? I'm going to share a little bit about what you might not know about the healthcare system and some of the underlying causes, things that people do not want you to know, what no one is actually talking about. And then lastly, but not least, the most important part, how do you take action? How do you change things? How do you improve your life, right? And at the end of all of this, I'm going to give you an opportunity to go ahead and make a discovery call. And this is just an opportunity for you, me to show you how I can make an individualized plan that fits your needs specifically, and to just demonstrate that in that short amount of time about what my company can offer you to help you take action in your life, right? I'm not going to do the action for you, but I am going to show you and give you guidance and a pathway on how you can make those actions for yourself, right? All right, so let's have a serious conversation. Real quick in the chats, I'm going to ask for a lot of interaction throughout this webinar. Can everybody tell me, seriously, how are you doing? It's not a rhetorical question. Like, how are you doing? What's showing up for you? What are your concerns? What are your fears? How does your body feel? How are you? Genuinely, I'm interested. Just go ahead and put it in the chat. How are you? Okay. Very first one. Sick, tired, and tired of being sick and tired. Yes, absolutely. I think that statement is pretty much the consensus of the majority of us, is that we've been sent through the ringer the last couple of years. We are tired, frustrated, lonely. Yeah. Oh, yes. So people are listing some of their health concerns like diabetes, um, gut issues, heart issues, liver issues, all different functions of the body, gallbladder. Yes. Yes. And see, and this is what I'm talking about, right? I have all these people on this webinar, and every last one of you can relate to the ideal of just feeling sick and run down and tired and struggling with functioning throughout your day to day. Like every time you go to bed and you wake up, like, oh, I got to do this thing again. When does it end, or when does it start? Like, what am I doing? Right? Why am I struggling the way I'm struggling? Is everybody else struggling the way I'm struggling? That's the question. I want to tell you about Tasha. Now, Tasha came to me, same things that you guys are reporting. She had some issues with her gallbladder, and she had depression and anxiety, and she was struggling with parenting. She was struggling with being a mother and having a full-time career and doing all these things at the same time. And she was just really burnt out. And through our work together, I was able to show her, first of all, a better way to treat herself, a better way to treat herself, right? A better way to speak to herself, a better way to consider herself. And as such, a better way to show up for her family and a better way to show up in her life, right? So many of us are caught up in this idea that we are to give everything that we have and hold nothing back. And in return, people are going to give us stuff back, right? Like people will give their all to us, right? What if I told you instead a good plan would be to take care of you first so that you are better able to take care of all those people around you? That if you filled your cup up first, there is more in your cup to share with those people. What if I told you that being selfish first allows you to be more selfless next, right? COVID rocked our worlds. It rocked the entire world, right? It wasn't just one country or one city or one state. Everybody got rocked. Everybody got affected. 133 million. You want to know what that number is? That's how many fatalities had underlying conditions. Underlying conditions like what you put in the comments, like diabetes, like liver disease, like kidney issues, like asthma, underlying diseases that they were already struggling with before they got knocked down by this COVID. I mean, if nothing else in your world tells you it's time for you to really pay attention and take care of your body, COVID should have been that wake up call. It should have been that moment where you decided that I'm not going to just settle for being sick all the time, because if I do, I run the risk and make myself even more vulnerable for things like COVID. 90% of all the cases of COVID where people were dying were those who had underlying conditions to start out with. 90%. These are people that are sick have been sick and haven't been getting the care and haven't been getting the conditioning that they need. How is this possible? In a country where $3.5 trillion a year is spent on healthcare services, how is it possible that we have so many people sick? How is it possible that we have so many people with these conditions that are getting no cures, but they're getting their symptoms treated, right? $3.5 trillion, not million, not billion, $1 trillion a year, and we're still ranked 37th out of 40. With the top 5 chronic diseases being diabetes, kidney issues. I mean, like, seriously, the top 5 chronic diseases are things that are lifestyle changes, that are lifestyle impacting. Obesity, really? There's no reason why in this country where we spend so much money on healthcare that our people are dying in droves for things that if they just received a little bit more education and a little bit more guidance, that they could prevent from happening altogether. Who is benefiting from this program? It's not you. Is anybody in the chat benefiting from the way the healthcare system is treating us right now when it comes to treating our symptoms and not actually curing our issues? A renounding nose over here on the side. No, we are not benefiting from this. But somebody's benefiting. Somebody's getting that $3.5 trillion. Who do you think is getting that money? Who do you think this helps? What's wrong with our system that we've got all these resources going into one space and then we're not seeing the results that we should be seeing in this country? What's wrong with the system? Is it that we don't have the right information? Is it that we don't have the right research or the right people on the research? Is it that we don't have the ability to create cures or vaccines or programs that help people become healthier and have healthier lifestyles starting from a very young age? Is it that we're not putting it in the education system? Like, what is the breakdown? I got that last one from somebody's comment. Education system, right? Like, we're not educating from a young age. We're not giving people support along the way. We're not showing them a way. We're not giving them guidance. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing this. Absolutely. That's what's showing up. That's exactly what the issue is. That's exactly what the issue is. We are in a system, a healthcare system that benefits insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies. Let me tell you about my wake-up call. So my biggest wake-up call, sorry, I'm skipping slides. My wake-up call for this, deciding that I wanted to do something different in my life and something different for my health and for my family, actually had nothing to do with me and everything to do with the people around me. So I had a pretty significant loss in my family. My grandmother passed away, and immediately people responded, "I'm sorry for your loss." Thank you so much. It's almost like you knew I was about to say that, but I lost my grandmother, and that was really devastating. But that wasn't even the worst of it. My father was rocked to his core after this death. After his mother died, he just could not take care of himself the same way. And it was really upsetting because this vibrant, energetic, entertaining, funny man in my life all of a sudden became the shell of that man. And he barely engaged with me, with his grandchildren. He barely even left the house. All of a sudden, he wasn't who he was the year before. And he was going to the doctor. He was getting treatment. Every time he came home from the doctor, he had an appointment for another doctor and another pill to take, and another regimen to keep up with. Right. And it got to the point that he was taking more pills than he was eating food, and he was getting sicker. And And I sat down and I'm watching this man slowly deteriorate in front of me and become somebody that I don't know. And I'm asking myself, how can you be seeing all these doctors, but it seems like every time you see a doctor, you're only getting worse. You're not getting better. You're definitely not happier. You're definitely not showing up in your life. Like, who wants to be so medicated that they're just walking around in a daze and they're not in their life anymore? And that was when I decided, I know enough is enough. This can't be it. This can't be all that we have to offer. There has to be better information. There has to be improved information. I decided at that moment that for my father's health and for our family's health, that I was going to be proactive and that I was going to look for the right information. Right? I was going to take control and take charge of our health in our family, because if I allow the doctors to do whatever they wanted to do, I'd lose my father altogether. And I just wasn't really accept that. I really just was not willing to accept that I was going to have to lose my father to what essentially looked like sadness that turned into manifested into physical health issues. So I started looking for risk factors and I started looking for underlying causes to help my father. I started trying to figure out ways that I could boost his immune system and then I could reduce some of the stress in his life. Most importantly, I focused on encouraging my father to take action in his own life and not settling. I told you that we were going to talk about the healthcare crisis. So this is the crisis, that we've got a healthcare system that is broken, that it's not serving the population that it's supposed to be serving. It's not helping the people that are actually sick, that have these chronic diseases, and it's not making changes, meaningful changes in their lives. And talked about, now I want to talk a little bit more about some of the underlying causes, but most importantly, like I said in the beginning, I don't want you to just hear the information. I don't want you to just know that we are in a broken system. I want you to be willing to take action in your life. I want you to be proactive in your healthcare, right? And I want to show you the tools that it takes in order for you to get to that space where you are proactive in your healthcare. So when you're ready, if you're ready, at the end of this webinar, you're going to have opportunity to sit down, to talk to me one-on-one. It's completely free. And you'll leave with an abundance of information specifically designed for you. At the very least, I want to help you know all the avenues that I took in order to be proactive in my health and proactive in my father's health. How to get off of medications altogether in your life. How to have a life that's active and free of anxiety and depression that's holding you down and keeping you from living the life that you really want to live. I want to be able to provide you with that information. But first, let's continue. America is in the health habit of diagnosing and drugging. There's no field more apparent of this than mental health, right? Like, I'll have clients come in and their insurance requires them to be diagnosed with something. And after they're diagnosed with something, it's like, okay, so here's the pill that'll make the symptoms of that go away, right? I mean, it's almost a staple for mental health, but for physical health, it's extremely the trend. You walk in and say, doc, my stomach doesn't feel right. Oh, and he'll look at it and he's like, oh, yep, you've got something-itis. Here's 5 pills. This will let you poop more. This will help you poop less. This will make you wake up. This will make you go to sleep. And then the side effects of all of this, dealing with all the side effects of these medications, here's some more medications that'll help you deal with all the side effects of the medication I gave you for the first thing, right? So now I've got a handful of medications. I still don't know why I'm having gut issues, but I am treating the symptoms of this gut issues, but treating the symptoms of these gut issues are calling all these other issues as well. So I need medications to treat those. And you staying addicted on prescription drugs, socially acceptable, but also makes you dependent on the system, right? It keeps you in that pharmaceutical game. It keeps this multi-billion-dollar industry of pharmaceuticals in business because you always need another pill to deal with the pill that you were given to originally, right? Diagnose and drug. That's what we do here. I didn't put any graphics on this for a reason. This came straight out of the affidavit for Medicare. They're not worried about trying to help you or about trying to prevent diseases. Insurance companies don't care about preventing illness. They only care about treating symptoms, right? Honestly, it's not really their fault. The system was never designed to promote health. The system was never designed to keep you healthy or to prevent you from getting sick. The system was designed to take care of you after everything has gone to crap, right? It was designed to help you feel more comfortable when everything starts to shut down. It was designed to deal with people at the end of their lives. And, maybe 100, 150 years ago, when we were only living to like 40 or 30, this makes sense. I just want you to be comfortable in your last days, right? Keep you comfortable enough so that you can go through your last days without suffering. Very compassionate system. But in a day and age when we are living to 80 or 90, just keeping me drugged for the last 40 years of my life is not working. Does not allow me to be a functional and lively person in my life or in society. It's not an effective system. It's a broken system. It no longer works. It no longer serves the purpose that it was originally designed to serve. So my question is, are you willing? Are you willing to do what it takes to break free of this broken system? Are you willing to do something different to make changes in your life? Because like I said in the beginning, it's not good enough for you to just know that the system doesn't work. You have to be willing to do something about it. You have to be willing to take action. You have to bring that knowledge from philosophy to actuality, right? Stay with me here, right? So anybody recognize this in their life? Anybody in the comment section, go ahead and tell me, can anybody relate to this feeling? Tired and sluggish and fatigued. Can anybody? A lot of yes. There was a resounding hell yes in all capitals. Yes. Lots of yeses. Right? We every day. I'm wake up 20 minutes into the day, ready to go to sleep. Lunchtime, completely drained. End of the day, absolutely drained. And what do I still have to do? Everything that's in my life, right? I might go through my 8-hour day or my 10-hour day or my 16-hour day at work and then come back home and still have like 3, 4, 5 hours worth of housework and childcare services that I still have to deal with. And then I'm going to try to get a little bit of sleep in there so I can do it all over again the next day, right? Praying for a weekend. How about this? Anybody want to be brave enough to claim this one? Anyone struggling with just having their gut feel healthy? Yeah? Yeah. Yes. People, listen to me. Listen to me. This is not normal. This is not something that you should have to just live with. This isn't something that you should just be like, oh, well, yeah, I know I haven't pooped in like 4 days, but that's just me. That's not just you. There is something happening within your body, and you shouldn't need a pill. You shouldn't have to need a pill to poop, or better yet, to not poop. This is what people come to see me all the time for, right? Just unhappy with life, at your wit's end, wanting to just for it all to be over, whether it be physical pain or emotional pain, that it's just getting to the point where it's overwhelming and too much. Or this, right? When you're just ready to rip your hair out altogether. Your heart won't stop beating. Your thoughts won't stop racing. Your body just won't settle. You just can't seem to be comfortable in your own skin. You're snippy and short with everybody. Difficulties just having regular conversations with your kids or your spouse or your boss or your coworkers. Like, it's everything is raking it against your nerves, right? This is not where you have to stay. You do not have to live like this. You do not have to suffer like this. You don't have to have your life be like this. Trouble sleeping? Did y'all know that the recommended amount of sleep for the average adult is about 8 hours, but it's somewhere between 6 to 10 hours actually, which is considered normal. But for teenagers, did you know it was about 9 to 12, 9 to 10 hours of sleep is what we would like to for teenagers? What teenager can get 9 to 10 hours of sleep a night, right? Between school and after school activities and homework and chores and socializing, like what teenager is getting that? And then we're wondering, why are they so moody? Why are they so all over the place? Why are they having all kind of issues? Who's struggling with their weight right now? Who is at the weight that they want to be? And they're all just crickets over here in the thing. Nobody's at the weight that they want to be. Anybody want to tell me who is struggling with their weight? Yeah. Mood swings. That's your teenager, right? That's your teenager having those mood swings. And maybe not even just your teenager. Maybe your partner. Maybe your parents. Maybe your co-workers or your boss. We're all having these issues. We're all struggling in these ways. And if you think your mental health and your physical health work on two different realms, you are wrong, my dear. If one is struggling, it is impacting the function of the other. They work together, they work in tandem. So if you're not taking care of this vessel, then you can't be taking care of your mental health. And if you're not taking care of your mental health, you are causing more stress on this vessel. I want to give you a little bit of information, a little bit of facts that you probably don't know. So there's actually three kinds of stress. There's physical stress, chemical stress, and emotional stress. But let me explain to you what this looks like. So physical stress, you might know, right? Some physical stress is good, right? When we work out and we go to the gym, we are putting stress on our body. And that's actually a really good stress. That really helps our body grow stronger, get fitter, and be more powerful and able to do the things that we wanted to do throughout our life. But when we have an injury, that's negative stress. Now, the injury is negative stress. But the problem is not that you have the initial injury. The problem is that it never heals completely, or you don't get it back to full functioning. Because when your physical stress doesn't go back to full functioning, then it starts to impair other parts of the body, right? As like, you ever had an older car and you fix one piece, you got one piece new, but then as soon as you fix that one piece, all the other pieces started breaking because they weren't functioning that well in the first place, right? That's kind of what the body looks like. When we start having these wear and tears and these breaks, we start having parts of our body that are only halfway functioning. And because of that, they start affecting the function of the other parts. And then everything starts to slow down and starts being impaired in its function because one part is not working really well. Chemical stress. Chemical stress is all the things that we put in our bodies or we put on our bodies, right? The pills that we're taking, the food that we're eating. Do y'all even know what you're eating? When's the last time you looked at the label of something that you eat, or ordered something and actually knew exactly all the things that they put inside the order of the food that you made, right? When's the last time y'all really looked at the nutritional value that McDonald's is required now to put on their food? There might be a reason why they're required to put that information on their food now, right? What the nutritional value of the food is. There's chemicals all over the place. There's pesticides on even our fresh produce. There's hardly a place in the grocery store that doesn't have some chemicals laced all over it, right? And your body is getting all of that, and it is struggling with all that. It is trying to digest and figure out what to do with all of these chemicals that you are putting in your body, and that causes a lot of stress. And the more stress that your body's on and trying to sort out what it can use and what it can use, the more energy it requires, the more it's diverting energy from other places of your body, particularly your mental health, right? And then there's emotional stress. And I think we're all pretty familiar what emotional stress looks like. Those look like those pictures that I just showed you, the depression, the anxiety, when people are yelling at us, when there's this high demand for our attention or our time, when we start to feel overwhelmed and underappreciated, that's emotional stress. I'm going to give you a really quick synopsis of what happens when you're underneath emotional stress. See, when you get underneath emotional stress, your brain actually sends a signal out to the body and says, oh, hey, look, there's a threat out there and we need to prepare to fight this threat. Now we know what this looks like. It's that fly, fright, or freeze thing that people talk about, right? You're either going to beat up the threat or run away from the threat, or freeze and hope the threat pass me by, right? But that state, that heightened state of awareness and threat response, that's supposed to be a temporary state that we stay in. You're not supposed to stay in threat mode. You're supposed to get threat mode, eliminate the threat or move away from the threat, or hope the threat passes you by. And then threat mode can cease and desist, like turns off. But the problem is that there's so many things in our lives that are triggering our threat response. That email that we're really anxious about opening, our boss that just gave us some constructive or not so constructive criticism, our partner who is not being open and not connecting with us in the way we want to, our children who are not behaving the way we think they should, our own personal judgment of ourselves, looking in the mirror and putting ourselves down and telling ourselves we're not worth it, right? There's so many triggers out there for threat that our brains can't stop producing that threat hormone response. And that's putting a lot of pressure on all the organs and all the functions of your body. And because they're always in high alert and underneath all this pressure, they start to break down. They start to wear and tear. They start to lose their functionality, because this is a state we weren't supposed to be in prolonged. This is a state we're supposed to be in for a moment. And we can't maintain this high level of resilience or high level of productivity. And so this shows up as issues in our gut. This shows up as migraines. This shows up as chronic pain, sleep issues, anxiety, depression. This shows up in your life as being short and unable to deal with any more stressors. These 3 negative stressors are the biggest contributor to you starting to break down internally, physically, and emotionally, physically and mentally. All right, so I said a lot of words. I did a lot of information. But my question is, what is it going to take for you to be ready to make moves? What are you going to have to lose? What are you going to have to feel in order to get to a place where you're ready to go ahead and be proactive and get some good information, right? Are you going to have to lose out on years of spending time with your children or with your partner? Are you going to have to miss out on the ability to function with your friends and your family? Are you going to have to lose out on hours of sleep and productivity in your job? You're going to lose out on your career. You'll lose out on feeling good every day in order to be ready to say, okay, enough is enough. I'm willing to not settle anymore for just the mediocre. I'm ready to have a life with purpose on purpose. Who is ready to be proactive? Who is ready to learn what they need to learn in order to have a life that they desire? Come on, give me in the comment section. Who's ready for this? Right? If you're ready, give me a yeah. And yeah, lots of yes. Lots of I'm ready. I'm on board. Yes. Yes, I'm tired of just settling, tired of just having a life that is not worth living, tired of being sick and in pain and struggling all the time, ready to do something different, ready to make serious, genuine, long-lasting changes in your life? Okay. All right. Let's talk about some of these changes, right? It's like putting together a puzzle. These are some of the pieces of the puzzle. These are probably the most important pieces of the puzzle. Detox and nutrition kind of go hand in hand. Hormones, fitness, and mentorship. Now, of all of these, is there any one that y'all think is the most important of these 5 puzzle pieces? Anybody think fitness? Yeah, I got fitness is the most important. Which one? Nutrition. Yeah. Okay, lots of fitnesses and nutrition. I got a couple hormones in there. I'm gonna tell you a secret. They're all important. They're all important, and missing one of them will derail the entire program. Derail your progress. You need all 5 of these. You need to have knowledge and assistance in all 5 of these. Let me tell you a little bit why. So, detox. 80% of your immune system is in your gut. You know, when you say, I have a gut feeling, like you really do have a gut feeling. You have more serotonin receptors in your stomach than you have in your brain. When you feel joy and happiness, or when you feel sad or angry or frustrated, you are actually feeling all of that in your gut, quite literally. But it's also affecting the function of that gut. And that's the epicenter of all the things that you need to do as far as fuel and preparing, getting the body what it needs in order to function, right? Like if you stop eating, you are going to impair the functions of everything about your body, right? So it's important to not only take care of what you're eating, but to clean out the space that's receiving all of that information. And that's what detox is for. Of course, nutrition. I love this little quote, and I mean, it comes from the dictionary, right? What is eaten is for sustaining life, providing energy, and promoting health to repair your tissues. Food is for nourishment, right? It is not a coping mechanism for your fears and your anxiety or depression. It is for nourishment. You have to work on changing your relationship with food so you get out of this abusive relationship where you're abusing food to do something else that it was never designed to do for you, and start using it for what it's actually designed to do. And that is to nourish the body in order for it to function the way you want it to function. You want your body to show up for you. You need to be able to show up for it and give it the proper food that it needs in order to function. All right, slide issues. Come on, slides. Fitness. Okay, so now too many slides. Fitness. Here's the interesting thing. A lot of times when I'm dealing with people with fitness, the first thing they think of is like, okay, well, I spent an hour at the gym. I spend an hour at the gym every day. But are you seeing the benefits that you're looking for? As a matter of fact, what do you really even think fitness is? A lot of times people say, well, all I have to do is do like 55 crunches and then I can get rid of this belly fat. So you got fat right there in your belly and you're just going to like bend it over and over and over again. And that's going to make the fat disappear. Who gave you this knowledge? Who told you that doing a whole bunch of crunches and push-ups was going to get rid of your belly fat? This broken healthcare system? Yeah, the one that's keeping you perpetually medicated and in their pockets, right? That's not fitness. And that's not what your body actually needs to be at its best. Not only do you need to have movement throughout your day, not just for like 20 to 30 minutes a day or for an hour a day, right? And not just like push-ups and sit-ups and squats, but you need to work on building muscle so that it could be burning fat even when you're not working. And you need to be working on being on movement throughout the day. All day, throughout the day. In order to get that highly oxygenated blood to your brain, you need to have movement throughout your day. So that means when you spend 2 hours at your computer like I do, you need to stand up and just rotate that body, flex that body, stretch, move things, put on your favorite music and jam out for a minute, get your heart rate up a little bit. But you need to be incorporating that movement throughout the day if you want to get that oxygenated blood to your brain to have it function at its top, at its peak abilities. Hormone imbalance. So this is probably the most frustrating part of my job, is because a lot of times I get people into my office and they're like, I feel like I have anxiety all the time. And then they tell me what they're having. And I'm like, that's not anxiety. That's a blood pressure issue. Your blood sugar is bad. you're not having an anxiety attack. You are having a diabetic attack. That's what's going on with you. But because they have been seeing the doctor and the doctor said, well, I mean, everything is normal, right? But you got to understand, normal is in ranges, right? You can be normal, but still high, right? High and normal. So you've got symptoms of pre-diabetes and you're still eating like you've always done. And nobody's giving you, the tools or the knowledge to say, okay, we need to adjust your diet because you feel like you're having anxiety because your blood sugar is dropping, because you're not metabolizing it correctly, because you've got too much or too little of X, Y, and Z. There's so many mental health issues that get blamed for physical health issues, for hormone imbalance issues. And that's just because there's just a lack of knowledge and a lack of education about how these blood results work and what exactly we are learning from these blood results. It's not enough for you to just know you're normal. Ask what that looks like. Look at the actual results. What is normal? How normal am I? Am I low normal? Like if I got a little bit lower, I wouldn't be normal anymore. And then I would need something, or I need a pill. Or am I high normal? Well, I probably am going to stroke out the moment I, do something rash, like eat an entire bag of potato chips tonight. Okay. And then mentorship. This is probably the biggest piece of the puzzle. Because like I said, it's not enough that you have information. It's not enough that you have the knowledge, right? I can tell you all day that, if you eat this, then it could generate diabetes. But until I show you, okay, no, we don't want to eat this, but how do I eat better? Until I actually give you that guidance and that support, it's going to be really hard for you to move from the point of knowledge to the point of action. And that's where mentorship comes in. That's where it's having someone who's able to have your back, to remind you of your goals, to get you set on the journey and show you the steps that you have to take. And not only the steps that you have to take, but how to take those steps in the first place, right? The right people to call, the right direction to take, the right foods to eat for you individually. Because not everybody's, it's not a blanket fitness plan or a blanket nutritional plan that will work for everybody in the population. That's just not how it works. We are all individual. We all have different things going on. Our immune systems are different. Our metabolic systems are different. Our serotonin releases are different. Everything is different per individual. So you need someone who is willing, that knows what's going on with you and is willing to help you on your journey individually. 94% of all plans fail because they're lacking a system. It's not good enough for you to know the information. You've got to have a plan and you got to have a system to complete that plan. Right? You ever heard of SMART goals? This is why SMART goals are so effective, because they're specific to the situation and they give detailed steps on how to get to a solution and how to track yourself to make sure you're still making those steps, right? I'm basically helping you design your own SMART plan. I like this quote because I feel like it points to exactly that Proverbs of like, you can teach a man to fish or you can give him a fish, right? Like if I give you a fish, you ate for the day. But if I taught you how to fish, well, then you can feed you and your family for the rest of your life, right? It's not enough that I just tell you what you need to do, right? Because you might remember everything that I said in this webinar, but that's all. You just remembered it. It's not enough that I even show you that I can do it, right? Show you what's going on other people and all the testimonials of other people that were successful. That's not enough. I need you to be a part of this steps. I need you to be a part of every part of the function in order to understand why it all functions together, why it all works in the first place, and how it can benefit you. I need you to understand why you're doing the things that you're doing to make your life better, not just know that these things make your life better. Why does it work? Why is it effective? Why is your brain working the way it's working? Why is your body doing the things that you do? It's not enough to know that your body does this. Why is it doing it? Okay, so the goal would be that we make sure that we get the right test done so we can actually figure out where your levels are, right? Determine what's truly some of the underlying causes for the symptoms that you're having. Really focus on developing a plan to treat the cause and not just the symptoms, right? It'd be like going to the dealership or going to wherever you get your car fixed, right? And showing them all the lights that are on your dash and asking them to fix it. And somebody just goes in there and just takes out a wire and all the lights go off. Well, they didn't actually fix the car, but all the lights are off. So now you think we're good, right? They took care of the symptoms of the things that were signaling to you that something is not right, but they didn't actually take care of the problem that something that was going on in the car. How does that help you? How does that get you moving? How does that keep your car on the road? It doesn't. Eventually, the car is still going to break down because turning off the lights wasn't the problem. The symptoms weren't the real problem. The problem was what was causing the symptoms in the first place, right? So we need to work on correcting the dysfunction, right? Not just covering the dysfunction, correcting the dysfunction. And we need to take care of the whole person, right? Your mental health and your physical health. It all works together. We can't just pick out a part and say, just fix that, just work on that and not fix out the rest of it. Because like I told you about the car, when you replace one piece and the rest of the car is still old, you just start breaking all other pieces because it's not functioning correctly, right? So I got a systematic approach, a system, an actual system designed specifically for you to ensure your success and support all along the way. Support all on every step you take. Somebody there willing to hold your hand and to be with you and support you throughout the battle and throughout the journey. Stop procrastinating. Stop waiting for somebody to do it for you. Stop waiting for the answers to just fall down in your lap. This is your wake-up call. This is your moment to go ahead and take action in your life, to be intentional in your life, to live your life on purpose with purpose. Let's get started, everybody. Seriously, let's get started. Who is ready to change how their life is being lived? Who is ready to stop suffering with pain and discomfort and frustration, anxiety and depression and sleep issues? Who is ready to have a life with purpose on purpose? Let's get started. Go ahead, look in the chats. There's a link there right now that's going to allow you to sign up for that free, absolutely free 15-minute discovery call where we're going to discuss about your individualized plan, what we can do for you or what you can do for yourself, right? Like we can give you the plan. If you think you can do it by yourself, go do it by yourself. That's great. But the point is that we are going to help you design an individualized plan that's going to help you succeed, help you get to the place that you want to be, to have the life that you want to live with your family right next to you, with your friends right next to you. All right. So this has been Enlightened Healing. That's the name of the company. This has been Enlightened Healing. We have been giving you a briefing about your health, not just your mental health, not just your physical health, your whole body health, and letting you know that there's a better way out there. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for interacting with me in the chat room. It's been really interesting. It's been a great pleasure. Some of you had some awesome comments. I am here for the next 5 minutes to sit down and talk. Anybody who has questions or concerns, go ahead and put it through the chat. I can interact with you right here. But more importantly, please check out that link. Click on the link now. Sign up. Let's talk. Let's get you a plan together. Let's move your life propelled forward. All right. Thank you so much. I'm Anita. That's it for tonight. Have a good night. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you for everybody who's commenting in the sections. You guys have been awesome tonight. You've been really awesome. Thank you. Yes, if you have any questions, feel free, put them in the comments. Absolutely. Okay.